Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Intentional Productivity Tips. And most important, Happy New Year. Today is January 1st, 2026, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Intentional Productivity Tips. You are watching me on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel, where please remember to like, subscribe, and even be notified when new episodes drop. I want to thank you for joining me today because today we are talking about something that is very exciting and timely. We are continuing with our holiday sloth productivity series, and today we are talking about starting 2026 productively and calmly with a sloth-inspired New Year's reset. So let's get into it and let's start talking a little bit about what you're going to do and how you want to bring in the new year so that it's productive and calm. So let's talk a little bit how we can have a little bit of a sloth reset. First of all, again, we do want to wish you a happy new year. Welcome to 2026. Let's hope that you celebrate it in a way that is going to make you excited. I like the New Year holiday. While I know many calendars do not always start on January 1st, we know schools and sometimes work and business calendars are not necessarily the beginning of the year. But for me, there is something about a new year, a new month, and a new experience. And let's be honest, you know me by now. You know that I love a new calendar and new planner experience. So what we want to talk about today is how are you going to how are you going to jump into your new year? Now, as we have been talking about this Sloth Holiday Productivity series, we are going to look to our friends, the sloths, and learn some lessons from them for how we can start the new year productively and calmly. Today, we are going to talk about three things. And again, please know this is a sloth-approved start to 2026. Our goal is to visualize, intend, and ease into the new year. Today, what we are going to be talking about three things, and what we're going to talk about is all about visualizing. Now, I know there are a lot of programs, a lot of people that new year, new you, new this, new that. I encourage you to do whatever works best for you. As you know by now at Intentional Productivity Tips, our goal is for you to find your productivity flow and what works for you. Today specifically, we are going to talk about different ways that you can visualize your 2026. We're going to talk about the sloth way and lessons we can learn from our friends, the sloths. Our goal today is for you to start with visualizing 2026. I'm going to share three different ways for you to visualize so you can again pick what works for you. For me, I know there are people who like bucket lists. There are people who like planning and setting intentions. I applaud all of that. But to me, it all starts with visualizing because if you see it, you can achieve it. And what better way to start a new year? So today we are going to talk about visualizing your 2026. I'm going to give you 3 different options. You can either take one of those or find one that works best for you. And then, of course, during this holiday sloth productivity series, every week, this is our 4th week, we have a top 10 list. And today's top 10 list, again, very exciting and timely, it is sloth approved ways to capture and prepare your 2026 memories. So we're going to start talking about memory making today for the calendar year of 2026. So again, how are we going to get started today? We have been embracing over the last couple of weeks our holiday sloth productivity series, where our goal is for cozy winter calm, intentional planning. We want gentle sparkles and sloth-inspired wisdom. We, during this holiday season and intentional productivity tips, have really been looking at our friends the sloths to learn how we can improve our holiday traditions, our productivity practices, and setting expectations and visualizing 2026. Why sloths? There have been many people that have said, Megan, I don't understand this sloth thing. And I say, I get that, but I believe in it. And I think you will too. Why sloths for the holidays? Because sloths embody everything the season asks about us, right? When we think about it, sloths slow down. They protect your energy. They move with purpose. They choose what truly matters, and they rest without guilt. Isn't that something we should be looking at and learning from when we're looking at a new year? I think it is. When we think about it, sloth wisdom for the season, if we move slower, we're going to feel calmer. If we choose less, we're going to enjoy more. And if we protect our energy, we're protecting our peace. And that's truly the goal of having a season with intentionality to say, how do we want to celebrate this holiday season? And now, how do we want to experience this new year that is 2026? So let's talk a little bit about sloth specific wisdom when it comes to setting intentions and visualizing, again, specifically visualizing 2026. When we think about it, let's learn from our friend the sloths. New Year's Day does not need to be a sprint. It deserves a breath. It is new and we want to honor that. Sloths model the exact energy that we need today. They're not rushing into anything. They move with purpose. They pause, observe, and only move when the branch feels steady. So that's one that I really am going to embrace in 2026 is I'm going to move when the branch feels steady, right? What does that mean? When I can visualize it and see it, which is why we're looking today at 3 different ways you can visualize your 2026. Also learning from our sloth friends for this new year, sloths don't race to plan. There's no forced resolutions, but it's about picturing the kind of year you want to live. And that's why today I am so excited that Intentional Productivity Tips is on Thursday. And I am so excited that Thursday is where we are starting the new year. So let's talk a little bit about, as I've been mentioning, the power of visualizing your new year. Because again, before you plan your year, we want to picture it. Planning without vision is just task collecting. And planning after vision is in energy in direction, right? So when we think about it, planning without vision, it's just a task collecting and it's a list. Planning after we have a vision visualized is intentional energy direction. When we think about 2026, isn't that a good place to start with intentionality with our wisdom? I think it is. So let's look at how we're going to direct our energy and wisdom this year. So again, I've been talking about the power of visualizing. To me, it is important to visualize what we want to look at during the new year. We're going to look at 3 different ways. There are some people that sometimes say, Megan, visualizing is too hoogie-boogie out there. And I get that it sounds that way, which is why we want to make visualization accessible and we want to make it relatable to you. It's important to realize what is visualization? Visualization is simply imagining the kind of year that supports your well-being. It's imagining the kind of year you want. You don't need resolutions. You don't need a direction that feels steady and true. This is again where we can learn from our sloth's friend. Sloths don't move blindly. They look and then move. So today we look at calm, quiet, intentional visualization for 2026. So let's look at what it is we want to visualize as we're moving into 2026. So today, my challenge to you and my encouragement is to take time to visualize the following. How do you want to spend your time, effort, and energy in 2026? How do you want to spend your time, effort, and energy in 2026? That's all you need to start your visualization. There are times when people think they need to visualize all of these grand plans. That will come. Again, we're going to learn from our friends of Sloth and build that steady branch, which is that steady branch is saying and asking ourselves, how do you want to spend your time, effort, and energy in 2026? Now, to answer that question, let's look at 3 different ways we can visualize. Let's look at visualizing your 2026 the Sloth way. Again, visualizing hits everybody different. And so I want to provide opportunities and options so you can find what truly works for you. Your goal is to choose the style that works for you. So let's look at 3 different options, right? So we're going to go over them, and then I have a little further detail that we're going to expand upon. But first, we can start with the classic visualization style. You see your year like a calm mental movie, right? You're going to sit and you're going to visualize. That's the classic style, right? A second option is a practical style. Well, you're going to picture your routines and how you want to spend your time, effort, and energy, right? That's where we're looking at how you're going to spend your effort and energy. And then the third option is more sensory and emotional. And that's how we're going to visualize how you want the year to feel: peaceful, steady, joyful, right? So let's look a little bit further at these, right? Do we want to take a classic approach of visualizing? Do you want it to be more practical? Or do we want to look and connect with our senses and our emotional feelings for how we want to visualize the year? So let's dig in a little bit further right now. So again, when we think about it, we are asking ourselves, how do you want to spend your time, effort, and energy in 2026? And please know, I might have been saying 2025 and some of these things work with me. Just let's pretend that we're going with 2026. It takes a little to get used to. Anyways, so let's look at option A of how do you want to spend your time, effort, and energy in 2026. So again, the option A is the classic visualization, and this is imagery based, right? This is where you're visualizing, right? This visual is cozy and it's imaginative, right? So what you're going to do oftentimes when you're visualizing your 2026 in more classic visualization style, what you're going to do, close your eyes, soften your gaze, and imagine 4 versions of you in 2026, right? So you want to close your eyes, you want to soften your gaze, and you want to imagine 4 versions of you in 2026. You want to look at, what does the morning you look like? How do you want to start your days? You look at the working you. How do you want work to feel? Not what you want to accomplish. How do you want work to feel? Going back to this classic, the third thing we're looking at is the resting you. What restores you, and how often do you want to do that to happen in the year? And then the fourth is celebrating you. What kinds of moments do you want to remember later? So when we're looking at this option of visualization, that is a more classic with your eyes closed, what you're doing is you're closing your eyes, you're softening gaze, and you're taking time to picture yourself and ask yourself, what do you want your morning to look like? What do you want your working you to look like? What do you want your resting you to look like? And what do you want your celebrating you to look like? Again, personalize this. This is one recommendation where it's more of a classic visualization and closing of your eyes and pondering how you see yourself in these situations: the morning you, the working you, the resting you, and the celebrating you. So that's option A. Option B is the practical visualization. Now, not everyone connects with visualizing, and I understand that. I have many clients and I have many people in my life that don't. So this is maybe for non-visual people. This is visualizing your 2026 by thinking about the categories in your life, right? Where you start to think, what are the different categories that I have in my life, the different hats I wear, if you will, and how do I want to spend my time and effort and energy in 2026 with the different hats or different categories, right? So this is where you might take time and you might make a list of the hats that you wear, your categories. And you might think of 2026 in categories instead of images, right? Where you start to think of, what does the work me, right? What is the health me? What is family and people me? What is the home me? What are the finances me? What are the creative and hobbies me? What's my me time? What's the stability and stress levels? For some people, closing your eyes and picturing a visual of yourself isn't accessible. And I completely support that. I will be honest, I'm a little bit of both. While I can visualize things, I visualize in categories. And so that's why I think sometimes it's good to think about our life a little bit and visualize how we want 2026 to be, how we're going to spend our time, effort, and energy when we look at the categories of our life or the hats we wear. This way, if you have each category, if you're able to say what's one improvement I can make in 2026, right? If we have things in categories, we can start to say what's one improvement? What is the area I'm going to work on? So another great way and option B of visualizing 2026 is to take a more category, more structured approach, right? And that's a good thing too. Now let's look at option C, our third approach for identifying how do you want to spend your time, effort, and energy in 2026. Option C is more of a sensory and energy visualization, right? The purpose of this is to picture the conditions that support your productivity so that 2026 matches how you want it to be. So in this version, what you're doing is you're noticing how you work best, not emotion, not intuition, just practical cues that help you plan a year that actually fit you, right? So this is where you're looking and you're saying, how am I going to spend my energy? What are the senses? How do I want to feel, right? This is where you're identifying where is it that you work best. So you're going to ask yourself questions like, what pace helps you stay productive without burning out? If we're thinking about our senses and if we're thinking about our situation, we don't want to burn out. So we want to think about what pace do we want to work? What environments help us focus? What signals tell you your working is sustainable? And how do you want to spend your time, effort, and energy in 2026? So again, option C is looking more at the sensory and the energy visualization. These are practical cues of how you can plan a year that fits how you want to feel and that fits you. Again, I've said this before, when it comes to New Year for me, I don't work well with things like in setting a New Year goal and saying, I'm going to do these things. For what example, one of the things that I want to work on and one of the ways that I'm going to have I've brought visualization for how I feel is I want to change how I do my mornings. And so one of the things that I've decided this year is I'm going to, on a weekly basis, right? I've got Pema's Children's compassion cards. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a compassion card each week. What I've done is I've identified that works for me because I know I won't do it daily. I know that a week is enough time for me to think about something. And I know I want to connect with this 2026, I want to connect with being compassionate and being aware of my mindset. And so that's something I'm doing for myself. So a little bit of personal information, but I just wanted to share with you a little bit how we can take the thought of how do you want to spend your time, effort, and energy in 2026? And then identify how can you visualize that today and how can you turn that into actionable steps that you'll repeat and follow through? Because we know finding steps that you'll repeat and follow through that work with your productivity preferences is the way to make it happen. We know that visualization plus gentle intention will equal a year you actually enjoy living. And as we are at January 1st, 2026, it is important to ask ourselves, what do we want to live this year? How do we want it to be? Because if we're starting from a place of that, if we're starting from a place of enjoying how we're living, it's going to increase our productivity, don't you think? A year becomes memorable not by doing more, but by noticing more. Memories don't need perfection. They only need your presence. One of the reasons I find it incredibly, incredibly powerful to visualize your year is because what it is doing is it's allowing us to see this is what we're going to look like. Again, if we see it, we can achieve it. If we see it, we know how we're going to be present. And that's one of our goals for 2026. If we're present, we know we'll be able to be productive and focus on what we need to for ourselves. Now, let us take a moment. We've been talking a little bit about our intentions and about setting our visualization for 2026. We've looked at 3 different ways that you're able to potentially visualize 2026. Again, my goal for you is to find a way that works for you. Find a way that you're able to connect with so you can actually picture 2026. Now, let's look a little bit at our top 10 list for this week, right? One of the things we do know is during our holiday sloth productivity series, we've been looking at top 10 ways, top 10 actionable ideas that you can implement into your life. So today's top 10 series is again very specific to New Year's. It is top 10 sloth approved memory makers for 2026. Our goal is to say, how can we track, keep, and make memories in 2026? Here are 10 ideas for you. 1, create a highlight jar. What you can do is drop a slip of paper filled with something good into a highlight jar. Go back and read it later on. 2, choose a photo of the week. Highlight, go back and look at your week each week and identify one perfect photo that sums the week. This shouldn't be perfect. This shouldn't be the Instagram. This is just a real honest photo of the week. My photo of the week was that I ended 2025 going to the dump yesterday. So that wasn't a perfect picture, but it was actually perfect to summarize how I ended my year. The 3rd top 10 sloth approved memory maker way of making memories for 2026 is send a January letter to a future me. In January, send a letter to yourself in 2027. Identify how you would want to live. Identify and write to yourself in 2027. Seal it, open it next January, and see what you had to say to yourself. 4, pick a monthly theme word, like January through December. What is a word you're going to focus on each month? For me in January, it's connection. And one of the things I just shared is I'm using my compassion cards to be able to do that. Number 5, set up a little wins list. This is where you're able to identify. We know that sloths celebrate small progress, so you should too. Number 6, capture one cozy moment every month. This is have a monthly highlight and track for yourself in a journal, on a notes page somewhere. But remember a voice memo or a note or something to capture a cozy moment every month. Number 7, make a people who matter list. Identify people you want to connect with and spend time with, and then intentionally set time with them in 2026. It might sound silly to say, I need to schedule time with you in August, but we know August is going to get here. The summer is going to be busy. Do it now. So make a people who matter list and create a time to see them now. Number 8 way that is the top 10 from the top 10 sloth approved memory makers list for 2026. Number 8 is mark 3 non-negotiable memory days. So go into your calendar right now and create a trip, a dinner, a solo day, an excursion day just for you. Create 3 of those for this year. They're going to be things you are doing for yourself to make memories. You'll thank yourself, and do not cancel it. Number 9, create a sloth shelf or folder. This is a victory place. If you get a positive note or something positive happen, have a folder or a place where you're able to keep wins over the year, because be honest, in December of 2026, you won't necessarily remember what happened in January. So keep a list and keep track of those things. Keep a sloth shelf or folder as you're going. And my number 10 approved memory maker for 2026 for you is enjoy and be present. And know that 2026 is going to happen. It's going to be an adventure, however it does. Show up and take pictures and show up and be who you want to be. When we think about it, 2026 is full of opportunities, and today is the first day of that year. So it's a great day to be able to set, again, time to visualize, which is why we visualize today, and time to say, how are you going to not only make memories, but track memories so you can go back and review memories. So we have been talking most recently about how do you want to spend your time, effort, and energy in 2026. Please remember, we looked up 3 different ways you could visualize. Is it visualizing your year with specific examples? Is it categorizing? Is it looking at how you want to feel and what the situation and experience is? My goal for you is to say it is a new year. It is a new time for you to say, what do you want the calendar of 2026 to look like? We know the calendar represents the presence and the places that you were. So now it is your turn. You've heard me. I've shared some of my ideas. My goal for you, as every week, is to take time to say, what are you going to do to plan your new year? So my goal for you is, as always, to take away at least one action and activity that you'll be able to take for the year. Oops, move that slide a little too quickly. So my goal for you is to sit down and say, how do you want to visualize 2026? I shared some ideas with you. I shared some techniques with you. Now my goal is for you to take those ideas, take those techniques and say, you know what? This is what's going to work for me. This is how I am going to make my 26 happen. My goal for you is that 2026 is a intentionally productive year, and it is the year that you've worked hard to create and that you're able to experience. I want to thank you for joining me today. Again, as every Thursday, you can find me here on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel. Please remember to like, subscribe, and even be notified when new episodes drop. You also can reach me. Please feel free to reach out to me. You can email me at megan@indelible.global. You can check out my website at indelible.global, and you can also check me out and follow on Instagram and Intentional Productivity Tips. I want to thank you for spending time with me today. I want to thank you for being intentional with your productivity. It's a new year. Let's make it a great one. Let's make it a productive one that has positive memories, where we learn and grow to be our best self. Have a great rest of your Thursday. I will see you next Thursday, 2:00 Pacific time on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel. And now a word from our sponsors.
From the magical world of the amazing adventures of Lady Ella comes a heartwarming new journey filled with kindness, courage, and compassion. Lady Ella, the beloved ladybug and listening mentor, is back, and this time she is not alone. Meet her brave and thoughtful brother, Lord Jack. Together, they take flight on their very first kindness adventure. Along the way, they meet 3 new friends in need: a duck feeling discouraged, a mouse struggling to be understood, and a busy little bee who's completely lost. But with the power of elevated listening and simple acts of kindness, Lady Ella and Lord Jack show us how understanding and empathy can make the biggest difference in someone's day. Written by Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the listening mentor, this 9th book in the best-selling Lady Ella series teaches children ages 5 to 10 the essential skills of listening, kindness, and etiquette. Now available for pre-order on Amazon. Scan the QR code and order your copy today.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dyes. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.